Hey guys, welcome to Illogical Humor. Today we'll create a data table object in C Sharp from scratch, and we are going to display it in a grid view. So we have here we have created an web application, and there is a single web form. In that, first to use data table we need to use this namespace system.data, and in the page load we create a data table object with this constructor. So there are like three constructors, one that doesn't contain any argument, the other contains the table name string format, and another it takes a table namespace. So we are going to keep this simple, so we're not going to go into that detail. So we'll just use the second constructor to take the table name. Okay, and then we create data column variable and data row variable. We are just creating the variable here, not initializing here only, because we want to use it later. We can, so that we can this single variable will use for different columns at different rows. Okay, so first let's create a column, and the column will be can be created using this data column object class, and then it has got five constructors. So we're gonna be using this constructor that doesn't take any parameters, and then we'll use the properties to set the data. We can either use property to set the data, or we can use the data constructor. So we are using the properties here, and we need to set the data type of the column. That is very important. And using this get type method in type attribute in type class, we are setting in a string format. We are passing, so it will be int, and this will be executed at a runtime because it is in string, right? So at compile time it will decide, at runtime it will decide if the type of the column. And if there is any error, guys, like instead of int 32 it is int 32 1, it will throw an error. We'll see it later. Okay, and then the column name, that is important. So column name, we're going to keep it id. It's going to be read only. Read only property will be true, because since it is an id, we're going to keep it as a primary key, and the primary key shouldn't be touched. And would you like to make unboxing video? Yes, sure. And we're gonna keep it unique also. The unique property will be true because we're gonna keep it as a primary key. And then we'll add this column to this columns collection of the table. See, this is like any other collection, like a list collection. In that there is a add method, and then we add it to the list. So it is like this. If you know about the collection, generic collection data, whatever collection, you won't have any problem in understanding. This is no new concept. We have the table contains the columns collection as well as the rows collection, that we'll see it shortly. So here we are going to create another column, and this time we are going to use a different method. We're going to be using one of the constructors. We'll use a different constructor. Like this constructor earlier we used, it didn't take any parameters. This constructor took only the column name, and this one took the column name as well as the data type. And there are other constructor, but we are going to use this third constructor only because we want to keep it simple, because name and data type, they are foremost. So name and data type, here we are not using this get type. We thought that we'll try something different. We are using the type of operator to set the type as string. Hey guys, here we pass the type name as string, so it decided the type at runtime, but here it decides the type at compile time only, because we are passing the name of this struct name. Yeah, the name of the type we are passing here, and not in string. And the read only will be false, because since this will be open to any manipulation, any changes, we are keeping it open. And unique also not, because we're not going to make it as a primary key. And then we are going to add this column to the columns collection. And again, then we need to set a primary key property of the table we need to set. and for that, since primary key can contain more than one column, so we are gonna take the data column array. Okay, like this data column array we are gonna take. Primary key columns will be the name, and then we are initializing the it with, since it's going to means capacity is only one, so the first column we are setting as the id column, and then we are going to add it to the primary key property of the table, because it's the only one column is the primary key. And then using the for loop we are going to create rows and then add to the rows collection of the table. See the row, we are using the table dot new row. Table dot new row method will, new row method of the table will make sure that it the row will be according to the column specified, according to the data type of the column. So row id, this is integer, so I, an item it will be string, so like this item plus, it will concatenate and it will be a string and result, and then we are adding it to the rows collection, and then we are assigning this table to the data source property. So this will become the data source for the grid view, and then we are calling the data bind to display. Okay, so let's just see what's the result. So the result, guys, is id and item as expected here. So we see this was just a simple data type, and next videos, in another section we'll discuss more complex such thing like data set that will represent the database, and there will be two or more tables, and then there will be foreign key relationship, other constraints you're gonna set up. We don't need to import it from the database. We can create our own database in C# only. You don't need to use this entity framework or ADU.NET. So this was just a demo. We might require all these methods and properties to manipulate the data table that is imported from the database. So hence the knowledge is also required. So guys, if you liked it, you can like, comment and subscribe. Let me know your views. Let me, if you want some other videos, you can request. I'll try to follow up on your request. So guys, that's it for today. Thank you and have a nice day.